Good morning. Today is Thursday, May 14th. It is 9:33 a.m. and I hereby call to order the meeting of the Joint Boards of Directors for the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency and the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone we are doing this meeting by online. And so if you would please mute your microphones unless you're speaking, that will help to keep the background noise down. And as we begin, our first item now will be the invocation, which will be led by Vice Chair Chuck Puckett, and this will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Director Wagner. Director Puckett?
I'm on. Our most precious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity we have to meet as members of the Transportation Corridors agencies. Lord, we pray that you'll be with all of our customers, keep them safe on the roads. Pray that you'll give us wisdom as we make decisions that will affect the customers. Pray that you will have your hand on our country, Lord, as we battle this coronavirus, that we can whip it all and we can all stay safe. We ask these favors in thy name. Amen.
Director Wagner?
Thank you. If you would all stand, if you're able, join me by facing the nearest flag. Imagine it waving vigorously in your minds over the land of the free and the home of the brave. And join with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Puckett and Director Wagner. Now I will ask our clerk, Mahan, to please call the roll for each agency.
Okay. I will be beginning with San Joaquin Hills. Chair Kelly.
Here.
Director Connors.
Here. I just come on by web too.
Okay. And then please remind everybody to just go on mute if you haven't already. All right. Director Heft. Director Heft, I think you're on mute. I know you're here.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you sure?
No Director Minigard. Director Munting.
Here.
Vice Chair O'Neill.
Here.
Director Stevens.
Here.
Director Fixor.
Here.
I'm going to do the Foothill. Chair Shea.
Yes.
Director Beal.
Here.
Director Chafee.
Present.
Director Wong.
Here.
Director Wong. Okay. Director Crane.
I'm here. Did you catch me?
Yes,
Here.
I got you.
Crane here.
Got both of you. Director Miller.
Here.
I think that was Murphy. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Vice Chair Puckett.
Here.
Director Voigt. Director Ward.
Present.
Now for our joint members, Director Bartlett.
Here.
Director Penaloza.
Present.
Director Taylor.
Here.
Director Wagner.
Present.
And Director Chamberlain.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Clerk Mahan. We now come to the public comments portion of our meeting, and these have been submitted electronically and will be read by the clerk of the board. Mr. Mahan, do we have any public comments?
We have received no public comments at this time.
All right, so we have no public comments. Now, there is a matter that came to the agency's attention Tuesday evening that we would like to present to the boards for discussion and possible action. But since it is not currently on the agenda, I'm going to ask our general counsel to explain the procedure we must follow, and then staff will present any recommended items or information items. So, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And this relates just for the board's information to Senate Bill 1373. And in order to place this matter on the agenda, each of the agencies will need to make a determination by a 2/3 vote of those present. There is a need to take immediate action, and that the need to take immediate action came to the attention of the agency after the agenda was posted. And I will note for the record that the agenda was posted on Friday.
Yeah.
So that part of the equation would certainly seem to be satisfied. But the other part is that the board needs to determine that there is a need to take immediate action. And so if both boards make that determination, then both boards will place this matter on the agenda. If either one or the other board makes the determination and the other does not, then only one of the boards will place this matter on the agenda, and it will be considered by that board only, by that agency only.
Okay, at this point then, I will ask if there is a motion on behalf of the Foothill Eastern Board to place this item on the agenda.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think staff will provide some more information regarding this item. If you'd like Barbie Daly to present information
Okay,
before the meeting.
okay, go ahead.
Barbie?
Good evening, Chairwoman Kelly and Directors. I'm Barbie Daly, Director of State and Federal Government Affairs. As currently drafted, SB 1373 prohibits any joint powers authority.
Can I ask a point of order? This is Christina. I don't know if we can have, and I could be wrong, I don't know if you can have this discussion without voting to at least put it on the agenda for discussion. Don't we have to do that?
If I may respond, it is appropriate to have as much discussion as is necessary for the board members to have the information they need in order to determine whether there is a need for immediate action. So it's a brief discussion, but only that information that's necessary in order to make that initial determination before it would be placed on the agenda, and then there would be further discussion.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay, so we will go ahead and hear more from Ms. Daly as to what this item is all about, and then we will consider whether to add it to our agenda for today or not. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Kelly. SB 1373, as currently drafted, prohibits any joint powers authority, state agency, regional transportation agency, or successor agency from constructing, funding, operating, or taking property for a new major thoroughfare in San Clemente in an area subject to a conservation easement or designated as open space protected by a local initiative. This prohibition does not apply to the modification of major thoroughfares that exist in San Clemente on or before January 1st, 2020. It's anticipated that the county will be the lead environmental agency for Alternative 22 and would construct and operate the road if it obtains all necessary approvals. As currently drafted, the language in SB 1373 does not prohibit the county from constructing, funding, or operating Alternative 22. However, it does prohibit the state, the Orange County Transportation Authority, and TCA from contributing funds to the county for the construction or operation of Alternative 22. It should also be noted that the prohibition in SB 1373 applies to any future areas within the city of San Clemente subject to a conservation easement or designated open space. SB 1373 is scheduled to be heard in the Senate Transportation Committee on Friday, May 29th. In order to be considered as part of the official record, letters expressing a position would need to be submitted by next Friday, May 22nd. As all of you are aware, there are several options should the board want to take a position on SB 1373, which would be to oppose, support, oppose unless amended, support with amendments, and of course, the board could direct staff to continue to monitor the bill. And that concludes my presentation regarding SB 1373, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Daly, for that. And as we can see, this is an item that has come up after our agenda was posted, and it is urgent because a response is required by Friday, May 22nd, and the bill will go up on May 29th. So that is the reason why we are bringing this to you. And at this point, I will entertain a motion on whether to add this item to today's agenda, first by Foothill Eastern.
Lucille Crane, motion to put it on the agenda.
And is there a second?
Second.
Peggy White?
Second.
Seconds. Okay, and I will ask the clerk for a roll call vote of the Foothill Eastern Board, please.
Chair Kelly, this is Director Ward. Can we have a discussion on that before you call for the vote?
Well, yes, we can.
Okay,
And
thank you.
just to be clear-
We do need to discuss it.
Okay, just to be clear, we are voting on whether to put it on the agenda. So is there?
I agree. And
Any
so
discussion?
what was been said already is that because this just came up, it is an urgency item. I don't know what Ms. Daly means by this has just come up. This bill has been out before, and the city of San Clemente has been working with the Rancho Mission Viejo and the county on language to do an amendment to this bill. Our city has voted on it. I did provide it to Director Bartlett last night. And so I'm wondering what the urgency is to vote for it now. I don't know what has changed in what we're doing. So I don't know whether Mr. Joseph could indulge me and I could give the board the amendment, or that has to be done with this being agendized.
I think we need to wait until we have that, until we actually approve putting this on the agenda. But Mr. Joseph?
No, I think that would be the appropriate approach. In terms of the timing of the urgency of this, I believe, and Barbie can chime in on this, that the reason that it's brought forward at this time as an urgent matter is that it was not scheduled to be heard by committee, and the understanding was because of COVID-19 that it was very unlikely to be heard by committee at all. And then Tuesday evening, the agency became aware that it actually was scheduled for a committee hearing. That's what happened after the posting of the agenda, and therefore gave rise to the request to have it heard at this time and considered on the agenda.
All right, thank you. So I understand, and I will provide my comments when it's agendized. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion about whether or not to place this on today's agenda? Okay, hearing no further question or discussion, Mr. Clerk, would you please go through a roll call vote of the Foothill Eastern Board?
Director Bartlett,
Yes, for discussion.
Director Beal,
Yes.
Director Chafee,
Aye.
Director Wong,
Yes.
Director Kell,
Yes.
Who would?
Director Crean,
Aye.
Director Miller,
I'm not on San Joaquin. I'm not on San Joaquin. I thought we were doing San Joaquin first.
No, this is Foothill.
This is good.
Okay, well, I do have a comment then. I thought San Joaquin was discussing this. I don't think it's appropriate that you ask us to put something as an emergency item on without providing the entire bill for us. we've known this was out there. This could have been, brought up, that we knew this was going to be an emergency item. Send it out, the entire bill ahead of time so we can have a chance to read it to understand what's really going on. Do we need to take a position on this or not? So, I'm going to abstain. Thanks.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you. Okay. Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Penaloza.
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett,
Yes.
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt joined us.
Director Voice is here. And yes.
Yes. Director Wagner,
Aye.
Director Ward,
Yes, for discussion.
vote passes 14-1.
Okay, I will now entertain a motion for the San Joaquin Board to whether or not to add this item to today's agenda.
Cynthia Connors.
Madam Chair, can I get a point of clarification? That vote was reported out as 14-1. I did not vote against it. I abstained.
Sorry.
Okay, clerk will note that. All right, and then the motion for the San Joaquin Board, Director Connors.
Yes, I move the amendment to the agenda for San Joaquin.
Okay, there's a motion by Cynthia Connors. Is there a second?
Director Fred Minigar, I second it.
And Minigar seconds. Is there any discussion by the San Joaquin Hills Board members regarding this agenda? And then just as a reminder, if you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. Any discussion about adding this to the agenda today?
Madam Chair, this is Vice Chair O'Neill.
Yes.
Can I ask that the bill sounds an awful lot like it only affects Foothill Eastern. Can I ask how this bill could possibly affect San Joaquin?
Okay, and with that, I will pass this to Mr. Johnson.
So, Director O'Neill, this is Samuel Johnson. It's just on whether, if the board does take an action and a letter is requested to be sent or directed, if staff directed us in the letter, we would like to know whether that letter is coming from one agency or both.
Understood, but what I'm asking is, does this affect San Joaquin in any respect?
Madam Chair, this is Cynthia Connors. I note that San Joaquin, that San Clemente sits on the board for the San Joaquin Toll Road, and therefore I think they're automatically included.
And I can respond, Director O'Neill, based on the direction and the current work the board has directed staff to do, this does not impact staff's ability to do that work. So there's no current work impact for San Joaquin.
Madam Chair, this is Ryan Chamberlain.
This is who?
Ryan Chamberlain.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to respond. I do see this bill as impacting not just the San Joaquin Board, but other boards around the state. I absolutely could see other jurisdictions following suit with similar language, and so I think it'll be important to hear from both boards.
Okay, that is good perspective. Thank you, Director Chamberlain. All right, we do have a motion. Did we get a second on that?
It was
That's right. Okay, is there further discussion about adding this to today's agenda? Okay, then I will ask the clerk to please do a roll call vote of the San Joaquin Hills Board.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Heff,
Aye.
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Director Minigar,
Aye.
Director Munzing,
Aye.
Vice Chair O'Neill,
No.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Shea,
Yes.
Director Stevens,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Fitzroy,
No.
Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes 12 in favor and 2 noes.
Okay, thank you. With that, we have added this item to today's agenda, and I will now ask for further information and a report from the staff, and we'll open it up for discussion.
As I reported earlier, this bill will be heard on May 29th, which is in 2 weeks from tomorrow. We found out about it on Tuesday that it was actually placed on the agenda. It would have to pass out of the Transportation Committee by May 29th. And if it does get through the Transportation Committee, it would then the Appropriations Committee and must pass out of there by June 19th. From there,
Wait, we're having trouble, Barbie. We're having trouble hearing you. There's all kinds of.
Yeah, whoever's not talking, can they mute, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, so if the bill were to get out of the Appropriations Committee, it would need to pass off the Senate floor by June 26th and get to the Assembly where it would be assigned. It would likely be assigned to the Transportation Committee. And because it's marked as a fiscal bill, it would also need to get through Assembly.
I'm sorry, Barbie, you're coming through very garbled. Very difficult to hear you, to understand you.
Okay.
Yeah, there seems to be some sort of an echo.
Okay, everyone who is not speaking, please mute your microphone and let's see if that helps.
It's the clerk.
Mute all except Barbie and the chair right now. And then folks can chime.
Mr. Murphy?
If you want to,
Yeah,
if you want to look at the bill, you can Google it.
Just a quick suggestion. Everybody has to mute, including the clerk of the board. That's the one that's popping through and causing the echo.
Okay, try again, Ms. Daly.
Sure. Since there was difficulty, I'll just repeat the schedule for the bill. It would need to pass out of the Senate Transportation Committee by May 29th. From there, it would go to the Senate Appropriations Committee and would need to pass out of there by June 19th. If it passes out of the Senate Appropriations Committee, it would then go to the Senate floor and would need to get off the Senate floor by June 26th and into the Assembly. The final deadline for all bills to pass out of both houses is August 31st. So there's the schedule of the committees it would go through. If it doesn't pass out of any of those committees at that point, it would become a 2-year bill.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it does. I'm sorry.
Okay, directors, I will entertain a motion from Foothill Eastern at this point.
This is Director Penaloza. I'll make a motion to approve.
And this is Corinne. I'll second.
Long, I will second.
Okay, and clarify what.
Excuse me, Madam. Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, what would the motion be?
Madam Chair, can we have a discussion before there is a motion?
We certainly can. We do have a motion right now on the floor, however, but we need to have a clear statement of what the motion is. Director Penaloza, are you prepared with a recommended action?
I think that's the problem is because we haven't discussed it, there isn't a recommended action. We need to discuss exactly what this bill is. And I think a lot of the board members don't know because we weren't given a copy of it. And we need to have that discussion.
You can Google the copy. You can Google what the bill actually states by going to the SB 1373 and see the bill.
And
that doesn't change.
Directors, it should be on your screen right now, the bill language.
It is. It's right in front of us.
Yeah. For those
okay,
folks
can
who
we have a
iPhone, they won't be able to see it, Barbie.
Okay.
But
yes.
Madam Chair, if you would like, Ms. Daly can read the bill in its entirety. It's only about maybe 3 sentences long. So the bill itself is very short. So if you'd like us to do that, Madam Chair, we can do that. Ms. Daly can also reiterate the options that the board has in terms of taking a position or remaining neutral and just monitoring it. So she can lay those out for the board if you like.
All right, Ms. Daly, will you please read the bill and then outline the options for board action?
Sure, I'll read it verbatim. As Samuel mentioned, it is short. So SB 1373 as amended states, public resources, San Clemente road construction. Existing law vests the Department of Transportation with full possession and control of the state highway system and associated property. The planning and zoning law requires each city, county, and county to prepare and adopt a general plan that contains certain mandatory elements, including a land use element and an open space element. This bill would prohibit certain governmental entities from constructing, funding, or operating, or from taking property to construct, fund, or operate a new major thoroughfare. Oops, it just popped off my screen. A new major thoroughfare in San Clemente in an area that is subject to a conservation easement or that is designated as open space protected by a local initiative. The bill would provide that these provisions do not apply to the modification of major thoroughfares that exist in San Clemente on or before January 1st, 2020.
And I would make, this is Director Peggy Huang, and I would make the motion that the Foothill Eastern Board oppose Senate Bill 1373.
Okay, now we did have.
Second by Kring.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a question. This is Director Heft.
Yes.
And probably a question for our council. And that is this something that is commonly done where one city is singled out in a way that doesn't affect other cities, where there are restrictions on building by certain entities? It seems like this is kind of an anomaly. I'm curious what normally happens out there. It almost seems a little bit on the unconstitutional side.
Well, I would perhaps defer to our legislative advocate on how frequently something like this occurs, but I would say it's not in and of itself unconstitutional, and it is not unheard of to have a bill drafted that makes reference to a particular jurisdiction. But I'd maybe yield to our advocates to see if they have any additional input on that.
Absolutely.
This is Director Huang. I thought we can't, the bills usually are not supposed to be this specific unless there is if it's certain criteria. But our former assemblyman, Supervisor Wagner, maybe you can let us know as well. But it's kind of unusual that it is very city specific without certain findings by the legislature for such specific bills.
Madam Chair, Supervisor Wagner or Director
Yes.
Wagner or former Assemblyman Wagner, whatever hat. Let me, if I may.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Director Huang. The advice from council, I think, is in this case accurate. There are numerous times when legislators will bring either district-specific or city-specific bills. I did so myself on a number of occasions when say, city councils or others would come to me and ask for help on a particular matter that applied on a very local circumstance. So it's not unusual, and I do know that author of this bill does represent that city. And so I don't think it would suffer from constitutional defects. It may have a whole bunch of other defects, but I do think he has the right to bring this bill.
Thank you for that clarification, Director Wagner.
Chair, this is Director Ward. Can I comment as being from the city that is supporting this bill?
Go ahead, Director Ward.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I see some inaccuracies of what's being told to the board. It has been said by other board members, and they've noticed this is San Clemente specific. It is for our open space. That means it would not affect Caltrans in the entire rest of the state of California or OCTA in what they're trying to do. Whether other cities try to do this or not, I can't imagine what freeways the city, Caltrans has that they can put in anywhere in the state of California. We supported, this has to do with Los Patrones Parkway. That's what I've been told. And yet that's not what I'm hearing from staff in their report. We suggested putting this arterial Los Patrones Parkway in the MPA 2 years ago. When we sent a settlement offer to TCA, to Mr. Cramen, we proposed this exact arterial instead of a toll road. When Lisa Bartlett brought it up at the county, we supported it then. Since then, we have heard there was some heartburn about this bill, and we proposed an amendment to it, and we've been working with Rancho Mission Viejo, who needs this amendment to the MPA, and we've been working with the county, and we have added an amendment to the end of this bill. I was not aware that it had not made its way through to TCA, but I don't know why TCA would be opposing it when we are working directly with the county to ensure that this gets in the MPA. So if you have heard any rumors that San Clemente is trying to kill this alignment, this extension of Los Patrones, that is simply not true. Anywhere in there, the bill does not prohibit anyone funding the thoroughfare. It says it prohibits construction, funding, et cetera, of thoroughfares, but it completely exempts the Los Patrones Parkway extension as a primary arterial. I think that's the semantics that we are having trouble here with. Staff is saying thoroughfares, and what we're talking about is a primary arterial. TCA would not be exempt from funding that. So I would like to say what the amendment is. I sent it to Director Bartlett last night. I wasn't aware that she didn't have it. And I wasn't aware that all of this was being talked about because I thought we were going through the proper channels. We have talked to Rancho Mission Viejo with their attorney and their legislative person, and they are neutral on this with the amendments that we've done. And this is what the amendment says. Under B, Pat Bates' bill says this section shall not apply to the modification of major thoroughfares that exist in San Clemente on or before January 1st, 2020. We have added the words or to the planned untolled Los Patrones Parkway County arterial extension from Cow Camp Road to La Plata Avenue. I can read that a second time if anybody wants it. With that amendment, Rancho Mission Viejo and the county has told us that they are fine, and the Rancho Mission Viejo is neutral on this. You will also notice that OCTA has not taken a position on this, and they are neutral on this. So I think it is, I think that this is not in keeping what the board has decided for the South County traffic relief effort. If they take a position on this bill because it is not necessary, it's not doing anything except opposing protection of San Clemente's open space. We have exempted Los Patrones Parkway from this bill, And we see no issue that TCA should have with the bill going through.
And Madam Chair.
I can answer any questions.
Okay.
Madam Chair, this is Director Peggy Wong.
Okay, Director Wong.
Director Ward, I pulled up the bill, and the language that Ms. Daly just read is what is showing up on Ledge Info. So do you know when the amendment that you just read to subsection B was proposed or is being proposed? Because it's not showing up according to the Senate website that I'm the legislative website that I'm running through.
Okay, so I do know that this has been proposed for a while, and we've been working on the language with the county and Rancho Mission Viejo, as they are the ones who put in for the amendment to the MPAW, so that's who we've been working with. And I know it's being given to Pat, and so I guess what I would ask the board today is if you want to take a vote to support the bill with this amendment, my city is fine with that. Or just don't take a position at all and watch it. I mean, it may not even be heard at this time because of COVID. So I don't, this rush to get this done is just surprising to me when we've been working on it. But if the board, I'll make a separate motion that the board, the Foothill Eastern Board, take a position to support the bill with the added language that we have done to completely exempt Los Patrones Parkway extension. I'll read the language again if anyone wants to hear it. You could put that in a letter that you support it with this amendment because it completely protects what all the agencies are trying to do.
Let me go
We've gone to great pains to do this.
Tony Beal.
Okay, Mr. Beal.
Yes, hi, thanks. From my perspective, this is what's going on. I believe the TCA has been aware of this proposed legislation as well as legislation that was being proposed at the same time by State Assemblyman Breaux. We've been keeping a careful eye on it since it was initially proposed. And it was our hope and understanding that neither one was going to be given a hearing. And as we heard at the beginning of our meeting today, we just learned that Senator Bates' bill has been given a hearing. The reason why I find it concerning, and I think TCA should find it concerning, is that, in my view, what this is an attempt to do by state legislation, that which the TCA rejected when we approved Alternative 22 at our meeting recently. There was discussion before we got to the meeting where we approved Alternative 22 that there would be a determination that there would never, ever be any further extension of that roadway. And that was rejected. Had that been part of what was proposed for TCA's approval, I don't think Alternative 22 would have passed several weeks ago. What we determined when we approved Alternative 22 was that based upon all of the analysis and studies and all the stakeholder input that the TCA had received, that Alternative 22 was the best alternative to reduce traffic, increase mobility with the least amount of public opposition, based upon all the facts and analysis that existed as of that date. It was expressly, and for that reason, it was approved, but it was expressly stated during our meeting that a future TCA board could conduct additional studies in the future if it was in our lifetime. I don't expect anything's ever going to change, but in the future, it is quite possible. Traffic could become really bad. Additional traffic relief efforts might be necessary, and an entire new traffic relief study might be done that could necessitate further extension of the roadway. And that was talked about by the CEO as well as directors during the meeting where we approved alternative 22. And so now what I see is this legislation is an attempt to do by state legislation, that which was rejected as a condition to our recent action to approve 22, because it would create a legislative prohibition to the TCA from ever doing that sort of future analysis should it ever become necessary. And it's like a backdoor effort to get what was previously rejected. And for that reason, I oppose it and suggest that the TCA send a letter in opposition to the legislation. Thank you.
Madam Chair, it's
Madam
Director
Chair?
Bartlett.
Oh. And this is Director Huang. I'd like to go after Director Bartlett.
Okay, Director Bartlett, but before we go to Director Bartlett, Mr. Johnson, did you have something to interject at this time?
Yes, I did, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make sure the board was clear that staff is only presenting the facts that we have in front of us. While there were rumors and discussions regarding amendments, we could only present to the board what was noted on the website as Director Wong cited. So this is the verbiage that we were able to identify. And as was noted by some of the directors, the discussion in April was that requesting the board take action on this was deferred because we did not think the bill was going to get hearing. And as Ms. Daly noted, we just found out Tuesday night that this item would be getting a hearing. So we thought it appropriate to bring it to the board, especially considering the short timeline. Staff is not presenting a strong recommendation on any position. I think the board has several factors to consider. We have the short-term project, which we've been given clear direction on, being the extension of Los Patrones, and working with the county to hand that off so they can be the lead on it. So this bill does not impact that work. However, as currently worded, if the board were to take up consideration at some point in the future to contribute funding for that project, the language in the bill does seem to prohibit that. So you have those considerations, and then you have the broader policy considerations that I believe Director Chamberlain was speaking to, as well as Director Beal. So this is a challenging topic. It's a lot of meat for the board to chew on. So staff just wanted to make sure we did our job, present the information as we know it to be factual, and let the board discuss it and provide us direction.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. And actually, before we go on, I just want to clean up our procedure here. We had an initial motion by Director Penaloza, and then we had a subsequent motion by Director Wong. Director Penaloza.
And Director Ward also made a subsequent motion, a substitute?
Yes, and
Thank you.
Okay. So I want to first go back to Director Penaloza. Are you comfortable with withdrawing your motion and having Director Wong's motion stand?
Well, I wanted I was still in support of sending a letter of support to the legislature. But yeah, I'll withdraw my motion at this time.
Okay, so your motion was basically the same thing. We just did not hear the entire projected action that you wish to take.
Right.
So we now have, okay. So we now do have, your motion is withdrawn, and we have Director Wong's motion, which is to, Director Wong, could you please restate your motion?
My motion, thank you, Chair. My motion is to, for the TCA to send a letter of opposition to Senate Bill 1373.
Okay, and we did have a second on that. So that is
by Director Kring.
By Kring, okay, and that is that motion is on the floor. We then had a substitute motion by Director Ward, which has not been seconded.
Can I make the motion again? Because I don't think people know what it is.
Okay, you may restate the motion.
My motion would be that the board consider sending a letter of approval for this bill only with the language that I am about to give you. Section B, this section shall not apply to the modification of major thoroughfares that exist in San Clemente on or before January 1st, 2020, or to the planned untolled Los Patrones Parkway County Arterial Extension from Cow Camp Road to La Pata Avenue. That language has been improved by the county council and Rancho Mission Viejo, who is putting in this amendment. This is consistent with the vote that the board took 2 months ago that said that they were done and that this Los Patrones Parkway accomplished all of the traffic relief that was necessary in South County for many years to come. I can't remember what Director Mueller said was how many years in the future. So I would submit to this board that either this board is changing and going on a new path, and they're not going to bring back in 20 years another extension that they cannot do that doesn't have any utility. And we either move forward or we don't. But if you take a vote against this, you are not being consistent with board direction that we took 2 months ago. So that's my motion to send a letter, if you need to send a letter with this amendment, because you're not seeing the full text of what's going before the Senate.
All right, so we have a substitute motion by Director Ward.
Hey, Madam Chair, this is Director Miller, and I have some comments when you get a chance.
Okay, Madam Chair, Director Bartlett here.
Yes.
Okay, so before we take a support or opposed position on this, and I know it's been through County Council, I need to get further clarification because even though with the addition on the Section B, and I understand what Director Ward is saying, we need to have as many funding partners as possible. The county cannot solely fund this road. And I have some concerns relative to the language, because OCTA would be a major funding partner here. But the road, they wouldn't be able to fund it if the road Alternative 22 is subject to a conservation easement. We don't have the exact alignment specific to Alternative 22. We have a general alignment, and I don't know if it goes through or touches upon a conservation easement, but if it does, we wouldn't be able to get any funding from any transportation agency. So that could be problematic because there would be a huge funding gap then for the county to put forth this project. I need to get further clarification from our Public Works Department and our County Council relative to conservation easements and whether we are even remotely near one or going through one, just to get that clarity in my mind at this point. So I'm really not prepared to support either of the motions because I need to get more information and clarification from our County Council and Public Works right now. And we still have some time before May 29th. But I think we need to have all the information before we actually vote on something. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So,
Madam Chair, Tony Beal.
Tony, go ahead.
Could I ask a question of Director Ward?
Yes, please.
Director Ward, what impact would this proposed legislation with your amendment language, what impact would that have upon a TCA board 20, 30 years into the future if at the time there was a need to analyze a further possible extension of Los Patrones Parkway and connect to the freeway?
Okay, so you're saying, what you're saying is what not, anyone else has been saying. You're trying to go beyond Los Patrones Parkway, and the bill has, and what our amendment's been dealing with is Los Patrones Parkway, which was the preferred alternative out of the South County traffic relief effort. So you're wondering what the intent is of this legislation, it is to protect the open space in San Clemente that TCA has studied for the last 25 years, trying to go through, and they've brought back, number 14 was a rendition of the central alignment that even TCA said they couldn't do years ago, and that it came back again in 2006. So it is to protect our open space because it was proven in your own study that that alignment had no utility, not even now, but way into the future. And San Clemente did its own traffic study, spent $100,000 to show you that it didn't have any utility, and it goes way into the future. This alignment does not work. It's an idea that TCA came up with over 35 years ago, and it does not have any utility. And with the addition of all of these arterials in South County, even your traffic engineers said that was enough utility for South County traffic relief. And I thought that's where the board landed. And I'm hearing from you that you want to just keep going. So it should be pretty evident why San Clemente wants this bill. And I think it's, if the board truly was looking at all of the traffic studies, they would know that there is no future need for an extension to I-5, nor could you complete one through San Clemente that had any utility. So that's my case on that. I think that 22, the way you're proposing it, looks like a Trojan horse to me, and the board just wants to keep on going. Some of the board does. I think some of the board does understand that we went through this whole, what was supposed to be a process, and it showed that there was not, the extension was not necessary. It's not necessary now or in the future. So I would ask you to be consistent with what your studies show and what your experts show, and move on to what the board can actually do and complete. Or every decade, are we going to come back and spend millions of dollars to try to do something that the TCA can't do?
Thank you, Director Ward. I'm going to actually go back quickly to CEO Johnson to have him respond to the questions that Supervisor Bartlett raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have Valerie McFall, our Chief Environmental Officer, who was heavily involved with the South County study, and she can speak to the current draft alignment and whether or not that touches any of the open space areas that would be affected by this piece of legislation.
Sure. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Yes, Alternative 22 right now in its current design, and as Director Bartlett noted, it has not been finalized, but tentatively given the guidance from working with county partners, it would intersect La Plata through an existing open space area in San Clemente that would be impacted by the proposed language. So because of the final design details have not been defined as of yet, it would provide additional restrictions on where that tie-in could occur. So obviously working with the county, that would have to be finalized, but because going through final design is so fluid to avoid habitat, minimize view sheds and so forth, it really puts restrictions on what the road can do in this area, again, as it intersects with La Plata.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Valerie. So that's where I do have a concern, because in creating Alternative 22, when I met with Public Works to start that process and get an alignment potentially mapped out, we are threading the needle to go from Cow Camp Road to La Plata. And we don't have a lot of options on moving that path of the road around a lot, because there are geologically sensitive areas within the landfill, which we're going through. So we can't, I don't think we can move the road a half a mile, for instance, or a mile to stay out of an easement or open space area, because we could be then moved into a geologically sensitive area of the landfill, which is problematic because we can't put a road through there. Also, the landfill has Zone 4, which is right in that immediate area. And they are in the planning stages of Zone 4 within the landfill, which is a new area of the landfill. we're not going to be able to create a road that goes right through the middle of it because the landfill would object to it. It completely would bisect the landfill area, which I have concerns about. And there would be some cost elements, not only that, but the geological issues as well. So that's where I think I need to get more clarity from our Public Works Department and our county council. I want to make sure that I've got everything clear in my mind that we've got a path that is going to work and it can get funded. And right now, I don't really have that clarity, but I can get that within the next week to 10 days. And I'd like to be able to do that because I've got some questions right now that need to get answered so that I've got it clear in my mind that first of all, we have a path. And is it going to be an issue with regard to easement or open space with regard to an alignment as it connects into La Plata? And if so, then are we going to have an issue on alignment and then also funding partner because the two are connected? And I need to get some clarity on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Bartlett. And just to clarify, the motion on the floor by Director Wong is to send a letter of opposition to this bill as it is presented to us right now. And
Madam Chair, this is Director Miller. I've been sitting back. I asked to speak a while ago, and I don't know if you have a list on who you're going through, but I know Director Wong had also asked to speak, and if she'd like to go before me, I'm okay with that, but I do have some comments I'd like to make.
okay, let's go then to Director Wong, who was the originator of the motion, and then we'll go to you, Director Mueller. Sorry, it's difficult to be in a meeting and we're not in person, so I apologize if I'm overlooking anyone. Go ahead, Director Wong.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Director Mueller. With all due respect to Director Ward, I will take what she said that there is an amendment, but I am staring at the legislative history of this bill, and it was actually referred to committee on May 11th and set for hearing yesterday for May 29th. And so, but the bill was actually not even introduced or read for the first time until February 24th. So it seems like we haven't had a chance to look at all the bills prior hearing and as it is right now. But there's nothing here that I see that would, has been introduced with the language that Director Ward had read. But I share the concerns that Director Beal stated, and as well as what Director Bartlett said. And I do not want to put in any type of support, any bill or any language for anything that would constrain any ability to build the alternative 22. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of challenges, but if you start putting these restrictions in, that would be a problem. Furthermore, we all know transportation dollars is extremely limited, and to state that the state agencies such as Caltrans or even TCA or OCTA to be able to, or a successor agency to any of those entities cannot fund or operate. I mean, to me, this is basically saying that only the city of San Clemente can construct this, and if San Clemente doesn't have the money, then basically that this is San Clemente's way of killing that alternative 22 without explicitly saying it, because it's basically take away any funding and the city would not be able to construct the road anyway as it's written. So I would urge everyone to oppose as written right now. If something else comes forward, then we'll deal with it at that point. As it stands today on May 14th, with the bill going forward on the 29th, this language is unacceptable and would be contrary to everything we're doing for South County traffic relief. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Wong. And just to clarify, yes, it has been scheduled for hearing on May 29th. And so we will now go to Director Miller, and then after Director Miller, I'll see if anyone else would like to speak. Go ahead, Director Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Really getting very frustrating.
Yeah, everybody needs to mute, please.
Actually,
It might actually be me because there's another conference call going on down the hall from me. So Zach, can you go close that door? Okay, I'm trying to fix that right now. But so, this is an interesting issue. Assemblymember Grow also had some legislation that I worked with him on that to have him pull his legislation, which he did, based on the fact that we were doing basically everything with our decision to support Alternative 22 and let the county take the lead, that his bill was effectively going to try to accomplish. This bill, I know, is being amended. I was speaking with Senator Bates yesterday specifically about it. And to fill everybody in, it's actually in the Legislative Council right now. I believe it just came out. So the language is going to be available shortly. I understand that we can only vote on what we're seeing here today. But we need to allow these discussions to continue between TCA and the cities, to make sure that we are actually living up to what we did. We worked very hard to get to Alternative 22, and we do have a lot of goodwill with the South County cities because of that, because they're seeing we're listening to them. Right now, what I'm hearing is happening with this is there's going to be a break in that trust. We're trying to oppose legislation that basically does what we just did. It goes farther, and I agree with Director Beal on this. It goes a little bit too far for me as well, I think, as written today. But we did make a commitment in those meetings that any further study of a South County connector would be done by OCTA, not TCA, that they would then take the lead on this if there's ever going to be a I-5 connector over to it. And I believe what we're talking about today is really straining the trust that we generated with our South County cities. The funding issue is concerning to me. I missed that originally. And, while we were sitting here talking about this, I texted Senator Bates and told her that's going to be a true problem in this. And she said she was absolutely willing to change that language. So I think as we're moving forward on this, we come up with a good solution. We still have San Clemente basically not trusting what we're doing, so they're trying to push this. We have Senator Bates not trusting what we're doing. We have an opportunity right now to show the county and the state that we will live up to our word, and this is how we're moving forward. We are not trying to push this forward. And I apologize, Director Beal. I do not believe you were trying to push this thing forward right now with the comments you made today. And to address Director Ward's comments, you kind of made the argument for us that the central alignment or Alternative 14, whatever you want to call it, has been turned down by two different TCA boards. So these boards, even though you think they're not doing, or the perception is we're not doing the right thing, they have made the right vote twice in 20 years. Every time it comes up, that group gets voted down. So, I know it's stressful when it comes up. It's a discussion that's had, but you need to take a look back and say this agency has done the right thing both times. I know it's hard on your community, and I am empathetic to that. So I would, I'm going to make an alternative motion, or a substitute motion, I guess. And I would move that we vote to oppose unless amended. We don't really know what's going to be presented in that subcommittee. I mean, I think Director Ward has the language, and I just talked with Senator Bates, and I think they'll change the funding component of it. If those two things get done, I think we could take a neutral position on it, or I'm not so sure I would go as far as to support. But as written today, I don't think I can support it because of the issues that it blocks Alternative 22, specifically the funding component of it. So my motion is going to be oppose unless amended. We could add the amended language that we want, send that letter up to the committee, and move forward on that path. But currently, I think all the work we did will be thrown away if we vote to oppose this bill. So that's my motion. I hope I can get a second on it.
I'll second it, Christina Shea. We've spent a lot of time on this, been an hour. Got a lot more to do, so yeah, I'll second it just for discussion.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to turn to our general counsel now because we need a little bit of guidance here. We actually have 3 motions on the floor. We have Director Wong's original motion. Then we have a substitute motion by Director Ward, which was not seconded. So that motion is not active.
I'll withdraw that motion.
Okay.
In support of Director Miller's motion.
Okay, so now we have a substitute motion by Director Miller, and let me go to our general counsel first. And have you please advise on where we are right now and what direction we'd like to take, or what direction? Sure. I think we need to address the substitute motion first, but go ahead, Director, or General Counsel.
That's correct, Madam Chair. The appropriate procedure at this point would be to address Director Muller's substitute motion, which now has been seconded by Director Shea, and that's the first thing in order to be considered.
All right, so we do have a substitute motion, and Director Miller, would you please read that one more time?
So my motion is to oppose unless amended. And at this point, I'm willing to discuss what the amended language would be. I would suggest adding in what Director Ward had added, but also to add in that the funding component needs to be removed because OCTA, Caltrans, or TCA, whoever needs to be able to participate financially if needed.
And it's the second of the motion. I would like to ask Director Bartlett. I'm understanding you just don't want to support it right now because you need more information. Would this fulfill or would this help you to address your concerns?
It does in part with Director Miller's motion, oppose unless amended, but part of the amendment, it's not only the funding provisions in it, you've got the connection relative to the conservation easement. And as I indicated, there's a very narrow thread in the connection point to La Plata. We don't have the ability to move that a mile, for instance, or a half a mile because of the landfill. And so we have to address somehow this conservation easement issue because that then also connects into funding. They're connected to each other.
Is there any way you could put that language in this motion? That we could
I believe that Director Ward's amended language takes care of that, it would allow alternative 22 to land wherever it needs to land.
Well, yes,
I believe that's what it is.
But we wouldn't be able to get
Ward. Okay, hold on. Director Bartlett has the floor.
Okay, sure. But we wouldn't be able to get funding. And so that's where the conservation easement has to be addressed. Because it is connected to the funding from,
well, that's why I said it needs to, the funding language needs to be modified or actually be removed to allow other transportation agencies to participate in the funding to land alternative 22 wherever it needs to go.
Right. We need some clarity in the language there in both that 655, 69A and in B.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way we could change that language so we could move on? Is there any, so we could just get that taken care of?
Madam Chair.
Okay, let me go
Chair,
back
this is
to Director
Wong.
Wong. Yes, Director Wong.
I'm not. I'm okay with opposing and subject to amendment, and I think that there's. Supervisor Bartlett makes a very good point, as well as Director Ward and Director Miller, but I don't, I'm wondering if it's a good idea to put in the language as suggested by Director Miller because it's not in writing. Knowing that things can happen between now and the 29th, we could be voting for such language as, represented by Director Ward as well as it sounds like Senator Bates. But we don't know what it's actually going to look like. And we might be constraining ourselves. I think it would be better if we just say oppose unless amended. And then sort of at that point see what happened, what the actual language is. But as it stands today, you know, we don't know what exactly how it will be written. I don't even know how Ledge Council will write it, and I never trusted Ledge Council until I see it in print. So I think I don't know if you're willing to, as Director Miller is willing to amend his motion to just oppose as unless amended until we get the accurate language.
Director Wong, this is Director Miller again. And actually, I am absolutely 100% okay with that. What I was going to get to is if we oppose unless amended with language, then if they don't do exactly what we say, we have an opposed position. But I'd like oppose unless amended. That gives, what's the committee, external affairs, a chance to look at it and recommend coming back after the amendment to tell us, hey, this is where we are and this is what we think we should do on it. But at least then we have a vote in or a position on it before the meeting on the 29th. I'm okay with it. Long story short, I'm okay with oppose unless amended.
Okay, and Director Wong makes okay, hold on just a minute. Director Wong makes a really good point. What we have before us is really all that we have. So we don't know what the amendment might look like. We don't know specifically what's going to happen. And again, we have a very short time window. We have between now and May 22nd to provide any communication or direction letters. And then it will be heard on May 29th. So this is all a very short time window. Now, I did hear someone would like to speak. So please, at this point, let me know if you would like to speak, and I'm going to get everyone into the queue.
Chair Kelly, it's Director Chamberlain.
John Taylor. Okay, Mr. Taylor, and then let me, who else would like to speak after John Taylor?
Chair Kelly, Director Chamberlain.
Director Chamberlain, okay, and anyone else?
Tony Beal.
Beal, okay. Anyone else? Okay, for now, we will hear from Director Taylor, followed by Director Chamberlain, followed by Director Beal, and then if anyone would like to speak after that, just let me know. Go ahead, Director Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. San Juan Capistrano would be opposed to this bill as written because we had 5 alignments going through our city, many of which were in our open space, designated open space, where none of this protects us. This language protects San Juan Capistrano. And if there was a thoroughfare to go through, if you couldn't put a thoroughfare through San Clemente, the most logical place would be next to go through San Juan Capistrano. So I would oppose this as it is written right now. I'm happy with the language that we have alternative 22 and the funding process and the ability to work within. If we have to carve off a small piece of excuse me of protected area to make an alignment work, then I'm okay with that. But I would oppose this bill. Thank you.
So you oppose the bill as written?
Yes, as written.
As presented to us today.
Yeah, and even with the amendment, if it specifically only states San Clemente, then I oppose it.
Okay, Director Chamberlain.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding the motion at hand, I think it's a good soft landing, but I will say I think staff still needs direction on what the amendments are going to look like, because I don't believe we're going to have time, or staff may have time, to come back to this board to present the amendments before this is heard. So I would propose that, the amendments, although not part of the motion, but staff direction should be to fix the funding issues, both being eligible for OCTA funding and state funding. Potentially local streets and roads and other competitive pots should be removed. Any impact on state or OCTA being able to construct or fund major thoroughfares should be removed. And any potential to block alternative 22 from its current alignment or a modified alignment should be removed, or the modified language should not impact alt 22. So that's what I would recommend as direction to staff. And then I wanted to be clear, State of California and Caltrans does not have a formal position on this bill. Most of you know our processes, and it's rare that we do adopt formal positions. But what I can tell you is this bill looks a lot like it's a local jurisdiction that does not want a certain project in their backyard, and that this bill, in effect, could be another form of NIMBYism, where it could potentially block OCTA, the state of California, and others from putting projects forward that are in the greatest public good. So I want to have that in the record. We have no formal position on this bill. I am concerned that bills like this, or if this passes, other jurisdictions that oppose for local reasons may impact projects that may have a broader value to the general public going forward. And it sets a very slippery slope and a bad precedence. That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Chamberlain. Now we'll go to Director Beal, please.
Thank you. I strongly agree with Director Chamberlain. I think those are very important points. I wanted to reiterate one thing and then ask one question. When this legislation, when we first became aware of it, I sat in a number of different committees, and at the time there was, as I recall, unanimous or near unanimous support for sending a letter of opposition right away. Why? Because the proposed legislation is clearly adverse to the TCA's interests. The only reason that wasn't taken forward was because it was our understanding that there were going to be some discussions between OCTA and the county with the senator to have it withdrawn. Now that we've learned that it's up for a hearing, it's still adverse to the interests of TCA, and the TCA should object to it, period. My question is for Director Miller, and it's basically the same question that I was posing to Director Ward earlier. Director Miller, you and I had a number of conversations in committee meetings prior to approving Alternative 22, and outside of committee meetings with the CEO and others. What is your impression of the impact this legislation would have upon a future TCA board long after you and I and the rest of us are gone, from doing a further analysis and potential extension of the toll road to the freeway anywhere through San Clemente?
This legislation kills that opportunity without a doubt. The reason I have taken a softer position on this is because TCA, when we approved Alternative 22, we were very public about any further advancement of an I-5 connection will be handled by OCTA and not by TCA. So that's my concern about this. I still have that concern about this legislation. And that's why I'm saying I oppose it unless it's amended.
Yeah.
And that's why I put that in there. I agree with you 100%, Director Beal. It would kill any opportunity for TCA to continue moving forward. However, or any agency, quite frankly.
Thank you. And I appreciate your candor. And I think that, to me, is so important. The concept that we just discussed was something that was discussed by the TCA before we voted to approve Alternative 22, and it was rejected. That we were not going to say it's done for all time. It was confirmed multiple times that that was not what we did, but a future board could conduct a new study, could do an extension if that's what turned out at the time to be in the public's interest. I think San Clemente and all the cities can take great comfort in the fact that the TCA did a very thorough, good faith study and made the decision to adopt 22, trying to honor and respect the concerns of San Clemente. I think there should be some mutual trust that the people of South Orange County are always going to try and take into account what's in the best interest of everyone. And it causes me concern that on the heels of our multi-year effort to do and get us to where we are and approve 22, we now have proposed legislation basically being sponsored by the city of San Clemente to backdoor and achieve that which the TCA rejected before we approved 22. So I urge the board to just oppose this legislation in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Beal. And let me just weigh in here for a moment. I am uncomfortable in approving a letter of opposition that would oppose this bill unless amended, because how can we vote on something that we don't know what the amendment would be? So I would be in favor of the original motion, which is to oppose the legislation as it stands before us today, the information that we have today. Again, recognizing that we have a short time window. We don't know what amendment might come back. And if an amendment comes back that we feel like we want to take a different position, we can certainly come back with the position at that time. And at this point, I do want to see if any other directors would like to weigh in.
Madam Chair, it's Lucille. I'd like to say something.
Okay, let me take names and see who else would like to weigh in. Director Kring, who else? I'm going to make a list here. Who else would like to speak at this point?
Director Ward.
Okay, Director Kring and then Director Ward. Anyone else? Okay, go ahead, Director Kring.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I agree with you. And I think the staff has pretty much heard everybody's concerns about what amendments we would support or not support. So I think we have a professional staff, and since the time is very, very short, I agree with you, oppose unless amended. But again, we don't know what they are. But we should trust our staff. We've been on this for almost, an hour and a half. And I think Barbie and her staff has gotten a pretty good idea of what this body is expecting out of that legislation. So I would support the oppose unless amended. Thank you so much.
Okay, and Director Ward?
Just one last.
Oh, you cut out.
Thank you. I'd probably hit the mute button. Our amendment that we have proposed and worked out with Rancho Mission Viejo and the county exempts Los Patrones Parkway wherever it goes. It comes into our city. I understand Director Bartlett's concerned about some conservation easement, but we have exempted it wherever it goes into our city. We know that we're one of the stakeholders. We are not trying to hold it up. And so San Juan Capistrano can rest easy that it doesn't mean that the alignment's going to cut into their city. We have fully accepted the Los Patrones Parkway is going to be in the MPA, and we agreed with that over 2 years ago. So I appreciate the comments of the board, and I call for the vote.
All right, there's a call for the vote.
Chairwoman Kelly, this is Mike Munzing, if I could speak.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to concur with you is that all we can do is discuss and make a motion or make a recommendation as is written, in my mind. So if we're proposing amendments or trying to, that's interjecting into what's going on. All I can see is we need to make decisions as what we're presented and what is written on this and what they potentially will be voting on. So for me unless amended sort of gives them hope, but it also implies some things as well. So for me, it's I think we should only be voting on it. We oppose this legislation as written. Maybe that gives a little different flavor to it. But for me, it's all we can do is look at what's written and what they're going to be reviewing and voting on. Because they can make amendments all day long into eternity. But we need to look at each one of those amendments as they come, not saying that unless this is amended. That's just my take, is that we can only vote on what's presented to us and what they are looking to vote. So I concur with you. I stand wholly opposed to this in its entirety as we review it and as Good. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Cynthia Connors.
Yes, Director Connors.
After listening to all the arguments, I am in favor of a blanket opposition. Certainly, our staff knows what our objections are, and the legislative staff can reach out to the TCA staff and discuss what objections, why we oppose this bill, and then they can work on it. And I don't know that we need to interject ourselves any further. They're going to vote on what's in front of them, and we oppose that. And then they're going to try something else or not. I'm a little concerned that after we finally came to an agreement on Alternative 22, that this bill, which we thought was going to be dead for a while, is suddenly revived on short notice in the middle of the coronavirus, where there are so many more things on the plate of the legislature. And I don't quite understand why it's popped up, but I think it's incumbent on us to do a blanket opposition.
Okay, so I am hearing directors who are
Madam Chair, can we clarify something real quickly? I mean, this is a Foothill Eastern only item. Are you only speaking with Foothill Eastern directors?
Okay, Director Miller, this is, at this point, it is Foothill, but we will also be considering it in San Joaquin.
Okay, we don't have a motion for San Joaquin right now.
I make the motion for San Joaquin. This is Cynthia.
And
your blanket opposition.
Your motion is a blanket opposition on the bill as presented.
Director Munzing, I'll second that.
I don't think you even need to say as presented or as written. I mean,
Right.
that's pretty much implied.
Okay. So your motion is for blanket opposition to this bill.
That's correct.
Okay.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes, Director Wong.
This is Director Wong. Yes, and I made my motion, which was the motion to oppose the bill for Foothill Eastern, and I believe that is still the motion on the floor for Foothill Eastern. Is that correct?
No, it's the substitute.
No, it's by substitute motions on the floor right now.
Okay, so what we have, Director Wong, did you want to finish?
Oh, I thought, Joe, you made it for San Juan, or you're on Foothill.
No, I'm on Foothill Eastern
Sorry, I'm
only.
confused which board.
I'm only on Foothill Eastern, so my motion's for Foothill Eastern.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
So what we have procedurally before us right now is a motion. Let's address the Foothill Eastern motion first. But we have the original motion by Director Wong to send a letter of opposition to this bill. And then we have a substitute motion by Director Miller to send a letter of opposition unless the bill is amended. So procedurally, we need to dispense with the substitute motion first, and then that will either pass or fail. If it fails, then we will go to Director Wong's original motion, which is to send a letter of opposition to this bill. And let me just check in with Council Joseph. Do I have it correct here?
You do.
Okay, so bearing in mind that we have two motions here in front of us, we will first go to the substitute motion by Director Miller to oppose this bill unless amended. And if that one fails, we'll then go to Director Wong's original motion. So may I have the clerk please call a roll call vote for the Foothill Eastern Board on the substitute motion.
Director Bartlett.
I appreciate everyone's input on this. I'm going to abstain at this time because I do need greater clarification on amendments and for our county council and public works. Thank you.
Wow. Director Beal.
No.
Director Chafee. Director Chafee.
Jabbar, Alton Jabbar for Director Chafee. He just left. No.
Director Wong,
No.
Director Kelly,
No.
Director Cream,
No.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yeah, sorry.
Vice Chair Puckett,
No.
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
No.
Director Director Voigt,
No.
Director Wagner,
No.
Director Ward,
Yes. Somebody's typing. Please, we could stop that.
the vote fails.
Okay, this vote fails, so we will now go back to Director Wong's original motion of sending a letter of opposition to this bill. And may we please have the clerk call the roll. Again, this is Foothill Eastern.
Director Bartlett,
Okay, again, I'm going to abstain at this time. Thank you.
Director Beal,
Yes.
Director Chafee, or alternate Jabbar,
Yes.
Director Wong,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Cream,
Yes.
Director Miller,
I'll abstain because I know we're not voting on what's going to be presented. Abstain.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett,
Yes.
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt,
Yes.
Director Wagner, Director Wagner,
Did we lose him?
Director Wagner, if you're there, you might be on mute. And Director Ward,
No.
vote passes.
Okay, now we also had a motion on the floor from Director Connors to also on behalf of the San Joaquin Hills Board to oppose the bill. May we please have that roll call vote?
Madam Chair, this is Director Victoria. Can we have any discussion on this before we vote?
Yes. Yes. Did you want to offer a question or a comment?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I'll just state my position. Going back to, I think, what Director O'Neill said at the very beginning, I'm really struggling to see how this is relevant to the San Joaquin Hills Board. I've been sitting here reading the language, and it says a regional transportation agency shall not construct, fund, or operate or take property for the same, a new major thoroughfare in San Clemente in an area that's subject to a conservation easement. So clearly this is talking about issues relevant to the 241. I don't see how the 73 is going to be constructing the 73 into San Clemente or taking land to do it. So I think this is not something that we should be taking a position on because this bill doesn't affect the San Joaquin Hills board. And so I think we should simply remain neutral and monitor the bill. So I'm not going to be supporting the motion. Thank you. That's all.
Madam Chair, this is Cynthia Connors.
Yes, go ahead.
I support this position largely on the matter of general application and precedent. I think it just feels highly improper to me to be putting these kinds of particular strings on the funding ability or the construction ability of transportation organizations. That's all.
Thank you. Any other directors? And I would like to remind the board that Director Chamberlain gave input earlier as to why he believes both boards should take a position on this. Are there any other comments at this time? Okay, then we will ask the clerk to please take a roll call vote of the San Joaquin Hills Board.
Director Bartlett.
Abstain.
Director Connors.
I vote yes.
Director Heft.
I'm clarifying before I make my vote that this is the original motion, correct? Not the substitute.
Yes.
All right, then my vote is aye, yes.
Chair Kelly.
Yes.
Director Minigar.
I vote aye.
Director Munsing.
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill.
No.
Director Penaloza.
Yes.
Director Shea.
Yes.
Director Stevens.
Yes.
Director Taylor.
Yes.
Director Fixoric.
No.
And Director Wagner. Vote passes.
Okay, so the vote has passed on both boards. So we will have a letter prepared and the letter will be sent as soon as it's ready so that it can be received and input before this, before the 22nd, certainly, and before it goes onto the floor on the 29th. It is 11:10. We will move into the consent calendar, but at this point, I may, depending on how our time goes and how everyone is doing, we may wish to put off item number 15, which is the impacts on the COVID-19. But let's see how we do here. So we have right now the consent calendar for the San Joaquin Hills Board, which is items number 1 through 9. I would like to ask the clerk to please go through the roll call and ask if there are any directors who wish to pull any items from the San Joaquin Hills consent calendar, items 1 through 9. Mr. Clerk?
Director Bartlett.
Yes, I'd like to pull item number 8, just to let you know that I will not be participating in this item due to the Levine Act. Thank you.
Director Connors. Director Connors.
Comment. No, I have nothing to pull off of the consent calendar.
Director Heft.
No, I have nothing to pull. I have a friendly suggestion, though. Instead of doing this by each roll call vote, why don't we just ask if there is anyone who wants to pull and we can make it.
Right.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to pull any items from the consent calendar on behalf of the San Joaquin Board?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Hearing no one pulling except for Director Bartlett, who is abstaining from item number 8.
I'll second the motion for San Juan. Yeah.
There's a motion and a second, and we do, because of our COVID-19 requirements, we do need to have a roll call on the vote itself. So, Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll? This is for
Director
the
Bartlett?
calendar.
Director Bartlett?
Yes, as you duly note my not participation in item number 8, I would approve the consent calendar balance.
Joe.
Director Connors?
I approve the consent calendar.
Director Heft?
Yes, I approve.
Chair Kelly?
Yes.
Director Minigar?
Aye.
Director Munson?
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill?
Yes.
Director Penaloza?
Yes.
Director Shea?
Yes.
Director Stevens?
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yes.
Director Fixoric?
Yes.
Director Wagner? I still don't have Director Wagner, so I'm considering him absent. Vote passes. Vote passes, though.
Okay, so the consent calendar for the San Joaquin Hills has passed. It will now go to the Foothill Eastern consent calendar, which includes items numbers 1 and 2 and 5 through 12. Would any members of the Foothill Eastern like to pull any items off the consent calendar?
Move it, Director.
Second, Kring.
Okay, there's a motion by Director Puckett, seconded by Director Kring to move the consent calendar for the Foothill Eastern. And Mr. Clerk, please do the roll call vote for the Foothill Eastern.
Director Bartlett?
Again, I'll be not participating in item number 8. Thank you, and I approve the balance.
Director Keel?
Aye.
Alternate Jafar?
Aye.
Director Wong?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Yes.
Director Green?
Aye.
Director Miller?
Aye.
Director Murphy? Director Murphy?
Yes.
Director Penaloza?
Yes.
Are they doing, did they poll?
Vice Chair Puckett?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Apologies, Director Wagner. I was on a radio interview. Can I pull the question, the procedural item, which is, I think, 9?
Okay, let's see here. We do already have it on the, we have the motion on the floor to approve the consent calendar. And you'd like to
remove item 9 from consent.
Okay, we're halfway through the vote.
I understand that. I just got off a phone call. Apologies that COVID's got us all messed up.
I know, that's true. And it's hard to see everyone here when we're online instead of in person. Procedurally, I think this is a little muddy, but let's go ahead and pull item number 9. And can we begin the roll call vote again, please, Mr. Clerk? So this will be for the Foothill Eastern Consent Calendar, items number 1 through 2, 5 through 12, with Director Bartlett abstaining from 8 and Director Wagner pulling item 9.
Director Bartlett,
As noted with the modifications by the clerk, yes.
Director Beal,
Yes. Yes.
and Jabbar.
Aye.
Director Wong,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Green,
Aye.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Director Murphy, Murphy, Director Penaloza.
Aye.
Vice Chair Puckett,
Yes.
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Director Stevens, Director Taylor,
Yes.
White, Director Director Wagner.
Aye. Excuse me, I think you forgot Director Voigt.
Okay, I tried to call you as a, what's your vote?
It's aye.
Aye. Okay. And Director Ward,
Aye.
vote passes.
All right, we will now consider item number 9, which is an update to, it's a revision to Appendix B of the Agency Administrative Code, and that is the procedures for the board meeting. May we please have a brief staff presentation, and then I'd like the committee chair, Director Wong, to provide the comments from the committee discussing on this item?
Yes, Madam Chair. Chesney should be on. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes.
Yes, Chair Kelly, this is Mike Chesney, Chief Strategy Officer. This item is a result of a joint strategic planning committee that was met on March 26th. And it was recommended then that we look at our rules, board meeting rules and procedures, and look at a more simplified version. And so the Rosenberg Rules of Orders were looked at, and they directed staff and the chairs to go ahead and meet in a focus meeting with General Counsel to lay out what we could do in terms of amending Appendix B to look at incorporating Rosenberg's rules. And so a subsequent meeting was held on April 30th with General Counsel, Chair Shea, Chair Kelly, and then the chair of the Joint Strategic Planning Committee, Director Wong, along with the CEO, Samuel Johnson, myself. And then we came up with the amendments that you see attached to the staff report to go ahead and use Rosenberg's Rules of Order as the primary set and allowing Robert's rules as a backup set. And that was, again, intended to simplify some of our procedures during board meetings.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chesney. And we'll hear from the committee chair, Director Wong, and then we'll hear your questions or your concerns, Director Wagner. Director Wong?
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. This matter was brought before the Joint Strategic Committee because there have been several times during our board meetings where there were because each city council and different agencies that we all sit on, some use Rosenberg, others use Roberts rules, and we've had some conflict and misunderstanding as to which rules and procedures should apply for TCA. We all sometimes get confused by both rules and procedures, both Roberts and Rosenberg. And so this matter came before the Joint Strategic for a discussion as to which ones will we actually follow and make it clean, so that members of the committee, of the board, will understand that TCA is following which rules and procedures. So after the discussion, we came to the conclusion that Rosenberg, given that it is straightforward, it actually speaks more to what we do at TCA. A lot of the instances that have come up, such as friendly amendment, or even today, the substitute motions, things that Robert's rules, frankly, either make it very lengthy, complicated, or even the friendly amendment actually does not even exist in Robert's rule. So for that matter, and given that we are used to those types of motions, the Joint Strategic Planning Committee agreed that Rosenberg would be the rule of choice for TCA, and designated that both chairs, as well as myself, with staff, come up with the final draft and proposal to this board. And that is what is before you today. And that is that we propose to use Rosenberg. As you can see, it is very short. It's in your binder. Unlike the hundreds of pages, it's very small print, which is what Robert's rules is. And many of us do kind of do a hybrid of either, of both. But given our practice here and what we have been doing, Rosenberg speaks much more clearly to what we have been doing. With that, if Director Wagner or any other board directors would like to ask me questions, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay, let's go first to Director Wagner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank the board for indulging me since I missed the original call to remove this item due to a conflict. And the conflict arose in part because we spent a really long time this morning on an emergency item, which speaks in my mind exactly to why we don't want to make a procedural change right now. Several problems exist with Rosenberg's. To begin with, let's talk about the complications of Roberts. Yes, Roberts, in all of its examples, goes into excruciating detail, 700 and some pages long. There is a one-page cheat sheet that board chairmen around the state are able to use, have used successfully. It's a single page. What we're being asked by staff is to incorporate these 11 pages, which are very unclear and very undetailed as to how we should actually handle particular situations, as evidenced by the fact that our agenda item says, oh, and by the way, we're going to have a backup of Robert's rules. Why adopt rules that need a backup if you're trying to get away from these dangerous backup rules that are so complicated? I don't understand why we would adopt something that even requires backup rules. Problems with Rosenberg's. Under Rosenberg, the chair has discretion in several matters which Roberts leaves to the body as a whole, which is much more democratic. Rosenberg gives too much importance and latitude to substantive motions. As we saw today, this is very confusing for the body. Just let's vote a motion up or down. Rosenberg uses this friendly amendment. We all use that colloquially. We all know what it means. It's a substitute. Using the idea of friendly amendments as Rosenberg has basically goes against the fundamental principle that a motion belongs to the board. You know, you make these motions, we get to debate them as a board rather than ceding control to any one or two members or to the chair. It is a board action that's being requested. The motion under Roberts belongs to the body. Rosenberg allows members of the body to interrupt debate and withdraw a motion unilaterally. That's disruptive. It's undemocratic. Rosenberg only allows 3 motions on the floor at the same time. Again, this is limiting the body and the actions we want to take. Rosenberg is relatively new. Everybody's known Roberts, used Roberts for years. A board like ours that is in the public eye and is being watched very closely, not just by a couple of member cities, but Sacramento, suddenly making a switch to a relatively new set of rules makes little sense to me. I had my staff take a look at other cities, and I can find 2 in Orange County that use Rosenbergs, Buena Park and San Clemente. Not even Director Huang's city of Yorba Linda, they use Roberts. Roberts is used by LAFCO, it's used by OCTA, it's used by the bulk of cities here in Orange County. What in the world is the need to make this change? What in the world is the need to be more, less democratic? And what in the world is the need to adopt rules that, by our own staff's admission, require the 700 pages of Roberts backup? I think this is the wrong direction to go right now. Let's distribute that 1-page Roberts Rules cheat sheet to our chairs, to everybody, and let's just get on with business. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Director Wagner. And let me just respond to 1 or 2 of your comments. For one, at the first meeting that I chaired, which was in February, I was standing on Robert's rules, and when an amendment came forward, I started to follow the procedure of the Roberts rules, which is to vote for the amendment first and take each amendment, the latest amendment first, and dispense with each of those before you go to the main motion. And the board instead preferred to do a friendly amendment. So as for one of the reasons why I think that the committee looked at Rosenberg is it is a little more efficient. It is, we're getting to the same place, but it's a little bit more efficient to be, instead of going through each amendment, it is taking a friendly amendment, which is what the board evidently has been doing in their past practice. And I, for one, felt a need to clarify our rules because in the city of Mission Viejo, we lean mostly on Roberts, but we have specific items in our rules of order. For instance, Mission Viejo does not allow a substitute motion. A substitute motion is ruled out of order. And abstentions in Mission Viejo, an abstention counts as a yes vote unless you have a conflict out. I think Roberts does also, but Rosenberg does allow for abstentions. So between the two, it really, I felt that we needed to clarify our direction and our meeting procedures. Now, I'd like to hear from other directors, but what we might want to suggest doing is sending this back to the committee for further review unless the majority of board members feel like we're ready to move forward with the action as it was presented. Any
Madam
other
Chair,
directors?
This is Director Voigt from Lake Forest.
Yes, go ahead.
Because of the large amount of agencies that are using Robert's rules or long-standing rules that have been used by many cities and agencies for many, many years, I think that the cheat sheet would be a good recommendation as a substitute motion. If you want to make, I would be happy to make a substitute motion. The staff gathers this cheat sheet and sends it to every director for TCA and send that out. And I think that we stick with Robert's rule order in time where we're all pushed to the limits by these conference calls and by these Zoom web meetings. I think that changing the rules in line of what we're going through right now is just a bad timing. So I say we stay with Robert's Rules of Order and have staff gather and send out to every director Robert's Rule of Order cheat sheet.
That would be my motion.
Madam Chair, this is Cynthia Connors.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
I just want to point out a procedural complexity that San Joaquin has already approved this item. And if Foothill Eastern does not, then we can run our meetings according to two separate rules according to who's the chair.
Yes, I think of that. Yes.
Okay, if I can speak. Okay, just to speak to that motion, I didn't hear a second, but what I suggest, because we're so far into this meeting and spent an hour and a half on this item, I would ask that we would.
Thank you.
Just substitute motion would be to that motion, would just to continue this item and bring it back after we get the sheet. I'm not sure if that's to what Scott has asked, but I just think we should continue this item based on time. We need to get that one single sheet. I would like to look at it, and we move this on so we can go forward. We'll have to go back, obviously, to San Joaquin and revote on item 9, but that would be my motion.
Okay.
I'll second that motion. This is Director Ward.
Okay, and I am familiar with the cheat sheet. I've actually done quite a bit of study on both of these sets.
Okay, can we move forward and call the vote?
Okay, so let me clarify the motions here. We have a substitute motion by Chair Shea to continue this item and bring it back to another meeting.
Yes, and bring a sheet, the cheat sheet. Everybody would get a sample of that.
Okay. And would you like to include in that we go back to the committee to sift through and to hear to discuss the new input that we have heard today?
And we'll continue. Well, let's continue it and send it back to committee. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Director Menzing, what are you proposing? As San Joaquin has already voted for it, and Director Wagner made some tremendous points. What do you recommend? Unwind that and pull it separate? What are your thoughts?
We will have to have a reconsideration on that vote, which a reconsideration can be done by any member of the prevailing party. So let's dispense with the Foothill Eastern motion first, and then we'll go back to San Joaquin Hills. The substitute motion that Director Shea made is the most recent, so that is the one that we will first vote on, and that is to continue this item to send the matter back to the committee for further discussion and to be able to, for all of us to be able to see the cheat sheet, but basically to continue the item, send it back to committee, and bring it back to a future meeting. So that is the motion before us now for Foothill Eastern, and then we'll go back to San Joaquin Hills. So any other discussion before we have our roll call vote?
Call the vote.
All right. Clerk Mahan, please call the roll call vote.
Director Bartlett.
Sorry, this is on Director Shea's substitute motion.
Yes. Director Bartlett votes yes.
Director Beal.
Yes.
Yes.
Director Wong.
Yes.
I couldn't hear you said. Oh, yes.
Director Fleischer, can you please put mute?
What was that, Director Fleischer?
Yeah, you're.
I'm a yes on the substitute motion. Thank you. Yes.
Did you call Kring?
No, Director Kelly.
Yes.
Director Crane.
Yes.
Director Miller.
I'm sorry, yes.
Director Murphy.
Yes.
Director Penaloza.
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett.
Yes.
Chair Shea.
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Wagner,
Aye.
Director Ward.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Okay, so the motion to send this back to committee and then bring it back to a future board meeting has passed on behalf of the Foothill Eastern Board. And now we will go back to item number 9 on the San Joaquin Hills Board, and I will entertain a motion to reconsider that vote.
I will move that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have a
Bartlett,
motion.
second.
Okay, we have a motion to reconsider item number 9. And
Madam Chair, I would like to make this same motion I made for Foothill, that we would direct this back to committee with the review of the Roberts document, one-page document.
Bartlett, second.
I think we need to vote to reconsider.
Need to
don't we?
reconsider first.
Correct.
Vote on
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I stepped over it too fast. Apologize.
okay, and I know it's extra cumbersome since we are required to do the roll call votes. So thank you all for your patience. We'll have a vote now on whether to reconsider the item, and then we will go to Chair Shea's motion. So, Mr. Clerk, will you please do the roll call vote? And this is whether or not to reconsider item number 9 for San Joaquin Hills Board.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Heft,
Aye.
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Director Minigar, Director Minigar,
Yes.
Director Munting,
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill,
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Shea,
Yes.
Director Stevens,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Victoria,
Yes.
Director Guyton, Director Wagner,
Apologies to the board. Thank you for your indulgence. Aye.
vote passes unanimously.
All right, our motion to reconsider has been approved. So now Chair Shea, would you please?
Yes, I would just like to make a motion that we send this item back to committee with the understanding we will all be reviewing the one-page Robert's Rules document.
Bartlett, second.
Okay, and with the understanding that it will come back to a future board meeting.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right, any discussion on that motion? Mr. Clerk,
No,
please call the roll.
Madam Chair and Clerk, on this voice, I thought that was included in the motion that was made by Director Shea in the first place.
No, we had to first, procedurally, we had to first dispense
All right, thank you.
the motion to
Okay.
reconsider. Okay. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Heft,
Yes.
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Director Minigar,
Yes.
Director Munting,
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill,
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Shea,
Yes.
Director Stevens,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Victoria,
Yes.
Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
All right, that vote passes, and we now are going to move on to board business items. First up is item number 13, and this is the Live Oak Grazing Feasibility Study. This is a Foothill Eastern item only, and I'm going to ask Chair Shea to introduce the item on behalf of the Joint Environmental Committee.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much. So I'll just kind of go over the agenda real quickly. Report. The Joint Environmental Committee, somebody's typing a lot and I'm sorry, it's just a little disruptive. The Joint Environmental Committee has been working with staff to continually enhance the agency's environmental programs by using best practices and strategies for the agency's mitigation and open space areas. Among the strategies discussed at the committee was the feasibility of using animal grazing on one or more of PCA's 17 mitigation sites. Several cities in Orange County, including Irvine, has moved their approach to maintaining their space through natural alternatives, such as grazing. Grazing is in line with the committee's direction to be more environmentally friendly and less reliant on chemicals. At the April 22nd committee meeting, members concurred with the recommendation to implement a 3-year pilot grazing program, a live oak mitigation site, and approximately 20 sites in the Trabuco Canyon area. The committee agreed that this 3-year pilot program could assist with reducing non-native and invasive plants, dry vegetation, and reduce the risk of wildfires. This concludes the Joint Environmental Committee's introduction of this item, and I will turn to staff to provide the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, staff report, please.
Madam.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is good day, directors. My name is Virginia Gomez. I am the environmental analyst for the agency. The item before you today is the grazing feasibility study for the Live Oak Plaza mitigation site. As a way of background, to date, the agencies have set aside approximately 2,200 acres as permanent open space throughout Orange County. Of this amount, over 1,700 acres is associated with the Foothill Eastern Agency, as shown on the map. Each year, staff manages these priorities using best management practices to ensure they continue to thrive for native plants and wildlife. Some of these activities include conducting restoration or enhancements of habitats, including recovery and harvesting of native plants such as cactus, removal of invasive species, and reduction of flashy fuels through fuel modification activities in compliance with state and local requirements. The presentation before you today will focus on one of the agency's properties, Live Oak, and staff's proposed best management strategies to control invasive species and provide fuel modifications. The Live Oak property is a 23-acre site acquired by the agency in 2005. Prior to the agency acquiring the property as permanent open space, it was zoned for development as a commercial center that included a gas station, which would have forever changed the rustic character of this part of the county. It should also be noted that historically the property allowed year-round grazing until it was purchased by the agency. Next slide. The property was purchased for open space due to its habitat and vegetation value and the wildlife corridor connections it provides to the Cleveland National Forest. The habitat on site contains oak, cactus, and coastal sage shrubs, to name a few. Next slide. The site provides habitat to various wildlife, including the California gnatcatcher and deer. In order to achieve this goal, as stated earlier, the agency employs the best management practices to monitor and address existing issues that can be a barrier to promoting the habitat values present on the property. Next slide. As seen on this slide, the current dominant vegetation on the site is non-native grassland and dominated by thick and tall cover of black mustard. Among these weeds, some shrub species are persistent within the mustard strands. Next slide. In addition to achieving the habitat growth goal, the agency must also comply with outside agency requirements. Currently, the agency conducts annual weed abatement to reduce the likelihood of wildland fires. The agency is required to mow and any dry vegetation in close proximity to structures as required by the Orange County Fire Authority. The photos on your right-hand side of your screen show the before and after mowing results completed this week. This location is the yellow highlighted area in the lower left-hand side of the property boundary map. In addition, the agency wishes to embrace Governor Newsom's proclamation of Wildlife Preparedness Week and be a partner in the regional emergency planning to make our communities more resilient. That said, requirements from OCSA, Governor Newsom's objectives, the existing conditions on the site, and the agency's persistence in continual science-based best management practices presents an opportunity for change. Next slide. Per the request of the agency's Joint Environmental Committee, staff explored the idea of utilizing grazing at live oak as a new possible strategy to using mechanical and chemical land management. Staff therefore recommended the development of a grazing feasibility study. The objectives and goals of the grazing feasibility study was to incorporate and develop the recommendation that was focused on continued reduction of dry vegetation that can lead to wildland fires, encouragement of native vegetation growth, and an increased use of the site by native wildlife species, among others. Additionally, the use of natural grazers will further reduce the agency's reliance on chemicals on the property to manage undesirable vegetation growth. Next slide. The draft final study distributed to you as part of the agenda packet resulted in the recommendation of a 3-year conservation grazing pilot program that includes the following strategies: utilizing cattle to graze the site, maintaining the use of cattle grazing only in short durations, meaning 2 or 3 times a year for each of the 3 years, and monitoring and documentation. Next slide. Although the study considers the use of sheep, goats, horses, and cattle for grazing, the recommended grazer for the live oak property based on the goals and objectives identified are cattle because of their selected diet. Cattle will focus on grass, broadleaf, and other herb species and have short time length, minimal impact on shrubs. The photo on this slide is a property that is adjacent to the live oak site that currently has active cattle grazing. Last slide, please. Upon approval by the board, staff's next steps will include the preparation of the site, such as things like repairs and installations, implementation of the program beginning with the procurement of the cattle grazer and a scheduled preparation for the 3 years of grazing and monitoring, and returning to the Joint Environmental Committee and board with annual reporting. I'm sorry, one more slide, please. Therefore, staff recommends that the board adopt the recommendations of the grazing study and direct staff to provide annual updates during the 3-year pilot program and approve the finding that under CEQA, the study and activities are exempt from the requirements of CEQA and the agency's guidelines. This completes my presentation, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. And I will now open it up to, I will now open it up to questions and discussion. We do have 3 recommended actions in front of us. And again, this is a Foothill Eastern item. Let me just make a note to the clerk that Director Chamberlain had to excuse himself to attend another meeting. So he has left. And I think I see Director Voits would like to have a question or a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to move staff recommendation. As the city that's adjacent to the live oak grazing proposed location, I think that Lake Forest we have in Lake Forest a motto: remember the past, challenge the future, And much of Saddleback Valley was once cattle ranch, sheep ranch, and I think this flows in line of what the charm of South Orange County is. We have our oceans on our western border. We have the Cleveland National Forest on our eastern border, and this would be a great addition and a step right to allow grazing to be the natural source for weed abatement there, and still allow the people of the canyon to still have the ambiance of having cattle seen along El Toro Road. So I move staff recommendation and strong support. Thank you.
I'll second this. Christina Shea.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the 3 points of recommended action in front of us. Is there any further discussion by board members? Okay, I think this looks like a really good plan, and I would love to get a cow for my back slope myself. But we will go ahead and ask the clerk to do a roll call vote for us.
Director Bartlett?
Yes.
Director Bissell?
Sheffield.
Director Gill?
Aye.
Alternate Savar? Alternate Savar? And I believe Director Wong is no longer in the meeting. Director Kelly?
Yes.
Director Crean?
Aye.
Director Miller?
Aye.
Director Murphy?
Aye.
Director Penaloza?
Aye.
Vice Chair Puckett?
Yes.
Chair Shea? Chair Shea?
Sorry, I was muted. Apologize.
Director Taylor?
Yes.
Director Boyd?
Yes. Thank you.
Director Wagner?
Aye.
Director Ward?
Aye.
Vote passes.
Thank you. That vote passes, and we now go to item number 14, which is toll enforcement, California Highway Patrol. Item number 14, this is a joint board item. May we please have that staff report? Mr. Johnson, will this be Mr. Leyva giving the report?
Yes, Madam Chair.
He is on mute. You are on mute, Mr. Leyva. So we're ready when you are. He's still on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thanks.
There we go. My apologies. Good morning, board members. My name is Alex Leyva. I am the Interim Director of Customer Service. This item is to request an extension for toll enforcement services, and this item was unanimously approved for presentation to the board by the Joint Toll Operations Committee at their March 25th meeting. Next slide, please. As a brief overview, we've had CHP enforcement since May of 2000, and the purpose is to deter violations such as driving with no plate and to provide safety by addressing drivers who make unsafe lane changes on the 241-91 transition. Currently, the two offices that patrol the corridors are the Santa Ana and San Juan Capistrano offices. For 2019, the bulk of the citations were toll related, with 36% of them being safety related and 66% being for unsafe lane changes. Next slide, please. In the beginning of 2019, the new temporary plate law went into effect, which required all new and used vehicles sold by dealerships to have a temporary plate that expires 90 days from the date of the sale. In 2018, prior to the law, there were 3 million no plate and obstructed plate transactions that were processed, totaling $12.5 million in lost revenue. In 2019, there were 1.1 million no-plate transactions and obstructed plate transactions, totaling 4.1 million in lost revenue. Next slide, please. This slide shows a graphical representation of the improvement. The graph on the left represents the number of no-plate transactions and the reductions month over month. And the graph on the right represents the percentage of vehicles with no plates that are processed through image-based processing. Next slide, please. One of the things that we were looking at is the value of having CHP. This is a comparison between the Bay Area Toll Authority and TCA. When comparing the reduction in no-plate transactions, both agencies saw the improvement from the license plate law. But what I'd like to highlight here is that even though VADA processes more transactions overall, TCA started with a higher number of no-plate transactions, but TCA has been able to reduce the number of no-plate transactions further than VADA. We believe the reason is that TCA uses CHP enforcement and VADA. Currently, VADA processes an average of 55,000 no-plate transactions per month, resulting in a projected revenue loss of $4 million. And TCA averages 30,000 no-plate transactions per month with a projected loss of $1.5 million. Next slide, please. We believe the benefits of continued CHP enforcement not only act as a deterrent by addressing the no-plate transactions, but also help by focusing on unsafe lane changes on the 241-91 transition. Next slide, please. This map of the San Joaquin Hills corridor shows which CHP offices patrol which section of the corridor. The northern section is where 84% of the no-plate transactions are taking place on this corridor. We're proposing keeping CHP enforcement to assist with these no-plate transactions, but at a reduced level. And we're proposing discontinuing service for the southern section of the San Joaquin Hills corridor, patrolled by the San Juan Capistrano office, as they have a lower number of no-plate drivers. Next slide, please. For the Foothill Eastern Patrol area, we're proposing shifting resources by discontinuing services for the southern section of the corridor and increasing patrolling services to assist with the no-plate transactions and act as a deterrent. Because even though we do have the temporary plate law in effect, 91% of the no-plate transactions occurred on the northern section of this corridor. The increase in services will also assist in addressing queue jumping on the northbound 241-91 transition. This has been a major concern that the CHP has stated during conversations with them. Next slide, please. Contract values being proposed are as follows. For the San Joaquin Hills corridor, the San Juan Capistrano office contract will be reduced to zero, and the Santa Ana office contract will be reduced by 50% to $54,405. For the Foothill Eastern corridor, we're keeping the overall amount flat, but shifting resources to the Santa Ana office to address the no-plate transactions on the northern section of the corridor and to assist with the queue jumping on the 241-91 transition. We know that traffic is low at the moment, and we recognize it may not be utilized right away, but we do direct their work. And as soon as traffic comes back, we think their services are needed and we can increase as necessary. We'll also continue to monitor and evaluate regularly, and we can ramp up and ramp down accordingly. Next slide, please. For the San Joaquin Hills corridor, staff is recommending that the board authorize the CEO to execute amendments to the CHP contract for toll enforcement patrol services, extending the term for 1 year through June 30th, 2021, with a not to exceed amount of $54,405. And also to authorize the CEO to execute additional changes in the amount not to exceed 10% of the above authorization. And for the Foothill Eastern corridor, staff is recommending that the board authorize the CEO to execute amendments to the CHP contract, toll enforcement patrolling services, extending the term for 1 year through June 30th, 2021, with a not to exceed amount of $297,600. And also to authorize the CEO to execute additional changes in the amount not to exceed 10% above the authorization. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Leyva. Directors, do we have any questions or discussion on this item?
Madam Chair, this is Cynthia Connors.
Go ahead, Director Connors.
I have a question about the cost savings. One of the early charts showed about 30,000 violations per month at a cost of 1.5 million per month, as I understand it. Is this the number of remaining violations that we don't collect after the CHP goes after them? Or is this what we are trying to combat with our CHP contract?
So the 30,000 a month results in a projected annual loss of 1.5 million. And that's what we're trying to combat with the CHP contract. We're trying to reduce that number even further.
Okay, but we don't know how much it will be reduced as a result of this contract.
We don't, but we do see that we were able to reduce it further than the Bay Area Toll Authority. They don't use any enforcement.
So deterrence is important.
Yes.
Thank you.
They don't use any enforcement, and we do, and we've been able to reduce that number further.
Thank you.
Directors, any other questions or comments? Okay, this is a joint board.
Ended item for San Joaquin Hills.
Okay, we have a motion.
Together. Can we do it both together or no? Separate, right?
I think, General Counsel Joseph, I think we need to do this separately because the dollar amount is different.
You can vote separately.
Separately. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor on behalf of San Joaquin Hills by Director Shea, Chair Shea. Is there a second to that motion?
Connors, I'll second.
Connors seconds. All right. We'll ask for the clerk to do a roll call vote of the San Joaquin Hills Board.
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill,
Yes.
Vice Chair. Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Heft,
Aye.
Director Minigar, Director Minigar,
Yes.
sorry, what? Director Munting,
Yes.
Director Stevens, Director Stevens, Director Vixor,
Yes.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Shea,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes.
Director Voigt?
That for the foothill. You'll be on the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion for Foothill. Kring.
Okay.
Director Voigt from the first substitute, or I will make the second there. Thank you.
The second. Okay, so we have a motion by Director Kring and a second by Director Voits for the Foothill Eastern for the two recommended action items. So again, Mr. Clerk, please go through the roll call for Foothill Eastern.
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett,
Yes.
Director Beal,
Yes.
Director Chafee, or sorry, Alternate Jabbar,
Aye.
Director Crean,
Aye.
Director Miller,
Aye, and I have to leave the meeting, and Director Vic Sorks, my alternate, so he can take over for me from here. Thanks.
Director Murphy,
Aye.
Boyce,
Yes.
Director Ward,
Aye.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes, and I also have to excuse myself in about the next 5 minutes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, staff, for your work on this. It looks like you've identified some efficiencies and some savings. And so we appreciate this item as you've presented today. And both boards have approved those items. So our next item is number 15. And let me ask Mr. Johnson, do you have an idea of how long this one might take? And I wonder if we might want to delay this one. It's such good information. I'd love to hear it, but I know we're pushing up against the clock here.
Considering the boards who have closed session items, Madam Chair, I would recommend we defer this and bring it back to the board in June.
Okay, again, it's such good information. I hate to defer it, but let's go ahead. We do have a closed session, and we are pushing, we're coming up on 3 hours into this meeting. So let us then go to, we have no public comments. So Chief Officer's report, Mr. CEO, do you have a report?
So I was just going to ask our Chief Financial Officer, Amy Potter, to provide a board an update as we committed to in the past, considering the impacts from COVID-19. I think she only needs about 30 seconds or so to provide an update.
Okay, Ms. Potter?
Yes, thank you. I had reported last month that as the COVID measures increased in the month of March, our traffic had decreased to a low of 63% on Foothill Eastern and 74% on San Joaquin Hills. Beginning towards the end of April, we started to see an increase, and we have seen a continued increase over the past several weeks. And so now Foothill Eastern is at a decrease of 49%, and San Joaquin Hills is at a decrease of 63%. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. So that's good news. We're having less of a decrease than we did see originally. Mr. CEO, do you have anything further?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay, this brings us to directors' reports and new business. Do any directors have any reports or comments at this time?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Who was that?
This goes to closed session. My comment, there are several things on here. One of them affects San Clemente, so I would not be attending that. I don't know whether there's a way to separate these, and so I would say to Mr. Joseph, I don't know if you can do that. So I wasn't going to be attending, but I understand that you might have an issue with quorum. So I could get off the line, and I don't know whether you can figure out how to call me if you need me to be in closed session for the other items.
Okay, Mr. Joseph?
Yes, I can respond. The way the closed session is structured, the first two items are joint items for both agencies, and those are not items that raise any of the issues relative to the city of San Clemente. So we would be proceeding with those first. Once those are concluded, then we would take up the matters that relate to San Clemente, which are Foothill Eastern only items. So at the conclusion of the first portion, members of the San Joaquin agency would be free to, and in fact should, leave the call, because the remaining items are for Foothill Eastern only. And at that time, you could certainly leave the call as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, any other directors?
Yes, hi, this is Director Heft, and I guess I'd like to ask council if there is a way to start to tighten the vote procedure. It seems like with 24 votes having to happen over and over and over, it does tend to elongate the meetings. And I'm not sure about everyone else, but I have a lot of things going on, and these long meetings, if there's a way to make them more efficient by either, if there's something that we know is probably going to be acceptable, that we do some sort of acclamation and then someone can say they don't agree and they can put that on the record. I don't know what is within Roberts or Rosenberg's or whoever's rules of order, but it would really help because these are very, very long meetings. Thank you.
I can respond.
And I'll ask Mr. Joseph to respond to that. Go ahead.
Yes, we were having the same discussion amongst ourselves here at the table this morning, and there is no requirement that the vote be by roll call vote, and I think we can certainly accommodate that and shorten up the meetings by speeding the votes up.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that does sound great. I thought under our COVID rules that our procedures did require a roll call vote since we can't see people, but I agree with that. So we will bring that back to our next meeting as a better procedure, a better way to go forward. And I would just like to acknowledge that Samuel Johnson is our new CEO. And while it seems like a long, long time that he's been in charge, it's really just been a very short time. And he has hit the ground running, and I want to commend him for all of his work and for so quickly grabbing the reins and moving us forward. So I do want to express my appreciation to him. And if there are no further directors' comments at this point, I will. Is there a further director comment? I heard someone take a breath. All right, then at this point, we do have some closed session items, and I'll ask General Counsel to please introduce our closed session items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first two items are joint items for Foothill Eastern and San Joaquin Hills. They are a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation under subdivisions A and D1 of Government Code 54956.9, Ray Toll Roads litigation, and Associated Industries Insurance Company. The next item, or group of items, is a Foothill Eastern only group of items, as I mentioned earlier. They will be a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation under section 54956.9, subdivisions A and D1, Reserve Maintenance Corporation, City of San Clemente, and Evan Crocker matters that are noted on the agenda. We do not anticipate reportable action.
Okay, thank you. Then we will now move to closed session. We're going to pause for a few moments for the live feed to be discontinued out to the public. And I ask directors to please stay on board on this phone call or this WebEx, and we will let you know when we are opening closed session. So we've now recessed to closed session.